Morning everybody, Silverbolt here. I'm not back for a Transformers review, and fortunately I have a 6-day working week, so I won't be doing a review this week. So, you've seen him before in my other videos. He's the guy that everyone wants to give a singing contract to. And he is going to be reviewing my Christmas present that he bought for me, as in Superion Fans Project's add-on packy bit. So, without further ado, I shall pass you over to my friend Adam. Toodles!
Hi, so thanks from Silverbolt there. Basically, I'm going to be going through, as he said, the Transformers Fan Project Superion Maximus upgrade kit. Now, first off, I think the reason why Simon's letting me do this is quite an honour to be sat in the hot seat and doing this for him. Two reasons. One, he is quite busy at the moment, which I understand. I think the other one is Simon's already done a Generation 1 Superion review. And to be honest, I don't think really going into any more depth about the character is really what this review needs, because obviously it's not actually, you're not really looking at the character for the upgrade kit, you're more looking at the actual kit itself. Now obviously you're all aware of Superion, and I'm sure everybody's seen the new Superion Maximus. For me, it's really the only Maximus gestalt that really works. When you think about the other two, they don't really seem to really grasp the idea of what's there for me. I mean, I love the aerial bots because all 5 of them are planes. So even the fact that you get 2 of this mould, which is the nice little fast jet, and you get 2 of the A10 Warthogs, and then you get a Silverbolt as well. Even though you end up with essentially 3 Transformers and then 2 recolors, they're still all planes, whereas with the Bruticus one, it's not so great because, let's face it, Bruticus was made up of a chopper, a shuttle, a truck, a tank, and, well, a big gun truck. They were all very different aspects, whereas with Superion, they're all planes, so it's fine. Now first off, what I want to do is I just want to run through quickly, well not quickly, I'll probably go into quite a lot of depth, so I do apologise if this ends up quite long. But I'm just going to show you through basically the Transformers themselves that make up the kit, because I've given this model this toy a lot of flack, and I know a lot of people have as well, purely because it's not a great looking gestalt, it's got to be said. But this is the basic one I'm on about now. It has aspects that are really good. What I'm going to do is I'll start off with one of these. Now these are the little fast jets that you get with the in the box. This is one of them. Now they haven't really named any of them, so you don't know which one's Slingshot or whatever. So these will be the fast jets and A10 Warthogs, and then obviously Silverbolt. That one's fairly obvious. Now these guys, I really like them. I mean, you've got landing gear, which is kind of a nice novelty, and they're nice looking. They're not goofy. They don't look silly. They don't look like block formers, which a lot of things end up doing. So I think they're quite cool. I think they're really nice little toys, and even when you transform them to robot mode, like this guy here, you've got a lot of articulation. They move a lot. There's a lot of movement there. They're nice little toys. The downside for me, and I think this is going to be the downside for the whole review really, for just the basic upgrade, for the basic Maximus, is these things. Now you'll probably have seen them before. They're horrible, absolutely vile little things that apparently are supposed to make up his gun packages, so you can kind of clip this one there and this one over here, and you end up with what essentially looks, well, don't know how well you can see that. Oh, hang on, there we go. Oh, light, that's better. It's rubbish. It's absolute, I mean, just no, don't like that. And it's a shame, because these are really nice toys. I mean, this as a toy and this guy as a toy are really nice. They're poseable, they look like toys, and unlike the G1 gestalts, now don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Generation 1, I really do like it. However, my biggest gripe is I've never really been a big fan of the way that the parts that make up limbs tend to be. It looks like they've just put them. They've made them transform just so they could attach as a leg. Do you know what I mean? And the scales were never right. I mean, they never really looked like they fit together. I mean, come on, Swindle and Brawl, same size? I think not. So these guys I quite like. These guys are the smallest, and they can either make up on the original kit the arms or the legs. Because of the way they've made hands, which I'll show you now, is essentially, you know, this clipped together with this little thing here. You know, that's a foot, apparently, and you know, this twist here, twist there, that's a hand. Yeah, I'm not sold either, if I'm honest. I think that's pretty poor. So yes, it can be made up of a many aspect, but not so much of a fan. But like I say, I think because of the fact that these guys are actually really nice Transformers in their own right, I think that's a really great aspect. And I think Fans Project have done a great idea by picking this kit as the one to do an upgrade on. I don't think it would have done justice on the others. Alright. Next up, let's have a look at the Warhogs. Now these are quite nice. You know, they're quite big actually, when you consider these just make up legs and stuff. Again, you've got the landing gear, you've got nice little bits, you've got little guns at the bottom here. I don't know if you can see that one down there. And they're really nice. The transformations aren't exactly difficult. I mean, aha, here's what I made earlier. No idea why they decided this recolour should be pink. I'm just going to see that a bit better. There we go. Why they decided this guy would be pink, I have no clue. But they're nice. I mean, he kind of looks like, yeah, he kind of looks like Wheeljack. They both do, but I like him, I've got to say. Now, I don't want to, but I'm going to show you. You get these, which essentially attach as guns or feet or whatever you want to do, so you can flip out this little bit here. Now, don't get me wrong, these aren't badly made. They're just, oh, they're ugly. They just don't do it any justice. So you clip that in there, and now he's got this giant cannon which looks out of place and not really right, and you know, you can stick it on, you know, if you want, you can stick it on his head like that, which looks even worse. And if you don't want to do that, you can stick his gun in here. Well, you can stick it, yeah, there we go. No, it's just not going to work for me. So that aside, this is really nice. They're really nice. Now the one thing I would want to point out is this guy, Silverbolt. Silverbolt. I like him. I really do. He like the other ones. It's kind of weird because you get 5 jets. 2 of them are actual world jets. They're both A-10 Warthogs. The others are, I don't know, I suppose the little ones you could kind of blag maybe look like Joint Strike Fighters if you kind of blur your vision a bit. But no, I like this one. He's very futuristic. He almost looks like the jet from from Thunderbirds. One of the early Thunderbirds. It's kind of weird, but I think he's nice. He really is quite solid looking. He's got some nice hands, you know, hands and arm and leg movements. He's pretty poseable. For some reason, I don't know if you can see this. This bugged me when I first looked at him. He's got knees this way, and quite obviously you can see from the coloration on his legs. These are yellow. It's blank on the back, but for some reason the legs don't bend that way. They will bend that way though, so I'm not quite sure what's going on with that one. Anyway, so that is basically those guys. Now I'm not going to go, as I say, into too much about how the guns can add on to them, because I think they're rubbish. I really do. So basically the next step is I'm going to put them together as superion, and just we'll have a quick look and see what you think. Okay. Right. Okay. So through the miracle that is timestamps, well, stopping time, what we've managed to do is I've managed to put together superion. This is how he's supposed to look out of the box. You can see I've actually chosen to do it a little differently. If you have a look, I'm going to be cheeky and put up a spec here. If you have a look on there, you can see that he's got different legs and different feet and everything. I've used the Warhogs for the feet and the little fast jets for the arms. You'll notice this one only has one hand. I say hand. That's ambiguous. Yeah. Mainly because it's so fiddly to do that. I gave up on that one, and I'm not going to bother with this one. But you get the gist. You know, you've got those little gun things that you saw attached to the Warhogs. They make feet, and it's a nice little gimmick. Now, the one redeeming feature of this toy is this bit. Right there. The head. I'll try and get it so you can see it better. There we go. I don't know. The head is gorgeous. It's one of few. I mean, me and Simon were thinking about this the other day. I think it's possibly 2 or 3 gestalts where the head was part of the body. Now I know Defensor was one. What I mean by that is the main head, rather than, you know, like with Bruticus it just clips on the top, is actually part of the Gestalt team leaders, you know, the Aerobots leader Silverbolt's body. This is actually hidden quite nicely in his cockpit here. Now what I love about this is the fact that you've got such a gorgeous head and it doesn't compromise any part of the model. You don't have to go looking for it, you can't lose it. It's lovely. And there's some really nice touches on this as well, like, you know, you've got this nice little Autobot symbol here, but if I open this up, now this is the cavity where you put Superion's head. You know, you can just spin it around and it flips down there, so well, it would do if it was working. Oh, that flips up and then it sits in there, yeah. But what I love about this is, I don't know if you can actually see this, if you look inside there, try and give you enough light, just here anyway, there's actually an Autobot symbol there embossed, just in plastic. It's not painted or anything. I think that's a really nice touch. I think, you know, they've gone really far. Which begs the question, why on... Let's face it, this guy doesn't look bad. He looks quite nice actually. Why would you ruin it with the hands and feet? Just why? Why give us these ice skating shoe feet and these horrible claw-like hands when you can do so much better? And you know what? That's exactly what Fan Project have done. And I'll show you. Right, okay. So now, here's the main part really. This is why you're watching this review. This is to see what it is. Now, first off, it's a little irregular, but I'm going to show you this. This is actually the Fan Project Upgrade Kit box. Now, yeah, you're saying, okay, it's a box, we don't care. It's kind of different though, because I mean, it's nice. I mean, you get this nice little story on the back, sort of story, I don't know. But it's kind of pretty. And like when you get into it, when you open the box up and you actually see inside, you look at it and you think, when I first picked this up, I thought, you know, it's a bit light and I'm not sure about it. But as he says, trying to get it down to the box. Oh, there we go. Now this is weird because anybody that knows Silverbot knows he doesn't keep boxes. I think I might have actually convinced him to keep this one. You might see why. Now when you look at it like this, you can see all of the kit for Fans Project is actually laid out in its own little individual tray, which I think is really nice. And you'll see right down here at the bottom, actually I'll flip it over so it's not full out, these bits here are empty, which is great because it means all the rubbish feet and the rubbish hands that you don't want for the old Maximus, you can stick in there and you won't lose them. Not that, well, most people will just stick them in the bin, but the other thing is, how many people have lost the instructions to their favourite toy? Well, this one you can't. They printed them on the box. How clever is that? I know this is kind of mad and I don't know why, you know, I'm going into the box, but I think looking at this kit, there is a very good reason why a lot of people think it's amazing. Quite simply because it is. And the reason for that is because these guys have taken small details that you wouldn't even think about and just gone the whole hog with them. They've gone ballistic. So let's see how they look on the toys. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how all of these, the little bits that come for the Fan Project, actually connect to the bots as as small parts. Because what they've done with this kit, it's really quite clever, is every single part can be used and attached to them in any mode. So, you know, the feet will attach to some part, the arms will attach to somewhere else, and I'll show you. What I'm going to do first, I'm just going to point out, this is Silverbolt. I mentioned him earlier. Didn't actually go into too much detail about what he looks like, and obviously if I'm going to show you what he looks like with the fan stuff on, I'm going to have to do it for you. So I really like him. I really do. So there you go. Nice jet. The funny thing is, he's not massive. You know, the little guys only about here on him. So he's not this humongous thing. They're all, like I say, a good scout, and you'll probably notice that with this review I'm more interested in how everything looks when you put it together, and that's because, well, that's more me, to be honest. That's more what I'm interested in when it comes to toys. Hence the reason that one of my favourite toys is, you probably saw Simon review it, is RID Omega Prime, and that one was mine that he was reviewing. I like it because it's a cool toy, but because of the way it moves together. Now what I'm doing is I'm stalling for time really while I clip these things on. Now, personally with this one, it's kind of a choice. I'm not so sure about certain aspects of this particular bit that I'm just doing now. I think other people will agree it looks somewhat good, somewhat bad. There are nice aspects, there are not so nice aspects, so it's up to you what you think. Right, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plonk this last bit in here and I'll show you. Okay. Didn't quite sit in the way it did. 2 seconds, sorry. Right, there we go. Okay, so this is Silverbolt with the upgrade kit added on in his jet mode. As you can see, he has developed what looks like battleship flanks on his wings. Now these are actually the feet from the upgrade kit. I don't care. I think that looks cool, to be fair. And there, up on the top, is a giant cannon. Superion's giant cannon. I think that looks really nice. Of all of the add-on bits, I actually would say that's the poorest. And that doesn't look too bad at all. I mean, if you can see it, there we go. Still looks pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of Tidal Wave for some reason, I don't know why. Right, okay, so let's have a look at the little guys. Now, first off, I'm not even going to get into it. A10 Warthog, AWACS plane, forget it. Can't be bothered to go across the connotations. I'm just going to point out it looks cool. I don't care what you say, that is cool. You know, that bit there, it's actually a fairly integral part of the toy, and they've made a nice way of hiding it. You know, it all fits together, and that's what I love about this kit. Every part of it is so well thought out. Okay, so you get spare one of these little guns. I couldn't really think what to do with it. You can probably see, there we go. So it just kind of sits on top of the A10. Doesn't look as ostentatious, as horrible as the other one. Really interesting thing about all these guns, by the way, I don't know if you can see that, just up here, they're all actually hollow. So these haven't just been like pressed in, going to go a bit technical, they haven't just been pressed in an injection moulding machine, which, you know, you've got 2 clamps that pushes together, forces stuff in, comes apart. For anybody that knows plastic modelling like Airfix or Warhammer or anything like that, you'll know what injection moulding is, and you'll know that you can't do that with that. So, well, you can, but it's a lot more difficult process. So somebody's actually taken a lot of time when they've designed this kit. So, oh, I'm astounded by it. I've got to say, I'm gobsmacked. When we opened the box earlier, we were absolutely gobsmacked about everything. We were like, oh, look what this does. Oh, isn't that great? And I'm still finding bits now that I just think are fantastic. Right, so you've seen those. Now, honestly, I'm not going to bother showing you the radar dish in the robot mode, because it just looks stupid. It just doesn't do anything. You split it in half and you hang it off their wings. It doesn't do anything. To be honest, it's one of those things where if you're going to use it, you put it to one side. Now, the really interesting one are these little guys. The little fast jets. Now, a lot of you will have seen the photos of Superion Maximus. I haven't seen part of this yet, so I'm going to point this out. These bits. Now you can see these big things on the flanks, they actually make up his arms, but on top you can actually see he's got little guns, which he didn't have before, which I think are very, very cool. The reason I think this is because when these two gauntlets obviously clasp together, you take them off the wings and they clasp together, he gets a nice big gun on the side of his arm. Now this is even better when you switch to robot mode, because those big gauntlet things attach to the bottom of his legs, and he ends up with some really bulky looking shin pads and twin pistols. So he's a happy little Autobot, because now he's got a heck of a lot of firepower, which I think is wicked. There we go. Pistol, pistol, fat legs. So, you know, I think that's a really nice idea. The only other one that I could show you really is Superion with the feet attached. Not Superion, sorry, Silverbolt with the feet attached. But to be honest, it does pretty much the same thing as it does in the plain mode. It's Superion with feet hanging off his back, and obviously Silverbolt with feet hanging off his back, and Superion's gun. This is interesting. I'm going to point this out before I actually show you. I'm just going to... Right, I put trouble attaching it, can't get it unattached. Right, this is the gun. Okay, in this bit here, folded down, that means it'll connect to Silverbolt in plane mode, and also he can hold it. And I'm fairly sure that the rest of them can hold it as well, because they can all hold each other's guns in robot mode. And here's the interesting thing: for Superion, it's slightly different. You have to do that. And then that bit is what he holds. Well, I know that's little. I know, you know, that's not impressive. It's just a hinge. But I think that's kind of cool. They've actually taken the time to think about that, and that is what astounds me about this whole thing. Okay, so I suppose you're all kind of wondering, when are we going to get to it? When are we finally going to get there? Right, it's up next. Right, so pretty much almost done. Well, I'm not, but getting there now. Finally, you're going to get to see how he looks. This is Fan Project Superion Maximus, and there he is. Fantastic. Gorgeous, absolutely. I will not have a bad word said against this kit. It is fantastic. I mean, I'll go through some of the highlights, and obviously, you know, if you choose to get one of these, you can get it yourself and you can have a look. But there's that much on it. It's difficult for me to go through this. I mean, the whole thing, I don't know if it's felt like it for you. It's felt a little rushed for me. I'd like to go into more detail, but I can't. Simon would kill me. You can see he's got his rifle there. He's got his guns on the side of his arm. These things, I don't know if you can see here, these little bits of brass rod. If you move the feet, or if you move these at all, these are actually on little pistons, and they move with them. Right, so you've got his feet there, and these are really stable. You know, the guy doesn't fall over. His arms are reversed, so he gets a much higher profile over the top of his head. Very G1 Superion-esque, with the nose cone sticking up in the air. His head doesn't quite dominate so much now. He's a much taller figure now. I mean, you can see he's pretty much dominating the screen. I love him. I just absolutely love him. I think he's fantastic. I think the guys at Fan Project all deserve a round of applause, and if they turn up at Auto Assembly next year, fantastic. I will most definitely be buying them a drink, because wicked. I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The funny thing is, we actually got this from somewhere. We've been waiting for a while for it to come in the post. And me and Simon have been jumping up and down waiting for this thing, and it's worth every single second, because it's such an improvement. You know, the fists have opening hands and trigger fingers. You know, they've actually built wrists onto it. The fact that the jets now, they're actually a lot easier to combine into Superion for the little jets. There's no change to the way Silverbolt transforms. There's no real change to the way the Warthogs transform. It's just the arms, and I've got to say, the way you do it with this kit is a lot simpler than the other way. It was quite elegant the other way around, but the fists just ruined it. This is a lovely piece of kit, and I would say anybody that has got 70-80 quid spare floating around, I would say yeah, go for it. It's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, that's that review. One last thing. I mean, I would say he is really nice, but I mean, the only things that really let it down are some of the original molds. Can be a bit hard to pose his arms sometimes, because the ball joints that you find on his arms are actually their hip joints, which obviously aren't designed to hold out at an angle or anything, so they can be a bit flimsy, but says it all. Well, thanks for listening. I hope you didn't miss Silverbolt too much. I apologise to anybody that did. And back to the man himself.
Oh, thanks for that, Adam. Wasn't that good? Oh, he put things in there that I never would have thought of. I mean, injection moulding. This goes to show you can take the man out of the workshop, but you can't take the workshop out of the man. Injection moulding. I'd never have thought of that in a million years. But there we go. Anyway, onto my take of the toy. Now, I've obviously got them back into well, I'd say obviously before I've actually put it up to the camera, but there we go. I've got them back in robot mode. Their individual combiner modes, and for a reason that it'll become apparent in a bit. Now, me and Adam watched Paul's Optimus' video on the upgrade kit last night, and Adam disagrees, but I'm with Paul on this one in that the Silverbolt toy is the worst. You know, it's just horrible, and he's got stupid arms and stupid feet, and you can see right through him. So there we go. I'm very much with Paul on this one. Is that you know, I don't dislike the toy as such, because I think it's really helped by the other four on its own. You know, it's horrible, but with the other four, it does help balance it out a little bit where the other four toys are concerned. But of the three moulds, the Silverbolt mould, in my opinion, is definitely the weakest. But at least he gets robot modes, which is more than can be bloody said for that other movie Gasol, Devastator. That's one of the ugliest pieces of crap going, and they want to charge 100 quid for it. I mean, in all fairness, right? You take something like Fans Project, who are knocking out things like City Commander set. You know, are you going to spend 100 quid on that Revenge of the Fallen puke Devastator, or are you going to spend maybe 70 quid on City Commander for your Classics Magnus? Hasbro, why haven't you hired these blokes? Anyway, the feet that are added onto it, and the giant gun. I mean, let's face it, what Transformer doesn't look better with the addition of a giant gun? Really does help bulk out this toy a lot, and it really does bring out much more of the good things about Silverbolt, which is A, his alt mode, because his alt mode is lovely, and B, the fact that he's the biggest and the leader, so he should be the most imposing. And it takes away from the fact that you can see right through him! My favourites are the as Adam dubbed, the fast jets. They are my favourites easily of the three. And I don't care, it's Air Raid. It's not Air Razor. I don't care what Hasbro says. It's Air Raid. Anyway, yes. To my mind, he is always going to be Air Raid. Air Razor was a bird in Beast Wars. Literally a bird in Beast Wars. So, to my mind, he is Air Raid. Especially seeing as all the others are called the right names. Now, the leg parts, and as Paul also pointed out, you know, the colours of the legs match up beautifully with the colours of the forearm guards for the Superion kit. They match up beautifully on that one. And okay, yeah, it doesn't mean that it means they can't hold their legs perfectly together anymore. However, they get twin pistols, which is always a nice touch. Look at Cal Jericho, worked for him. On to the Warthogs. Now, the Warthogs, all they really get is the double barrel blaster. Apart from the one that's got the radar dish, whichever one you put it on. Where it, in robot mode, it hangs like a pair of chav earrings. So, for the most part, I'd say you could leave them off. There we go. And just stick to the double blaster. Now, on an individual basis, these toys are really, really nice. The fans project have done an absolutely fantastic job with them. Pun there was not intended. I mean, the fact that, you know, it fits together like that. I mean, okay, yeah, it's only a silly little radar dish, but it fits together like that. You know, it's such a great kit. And, you know, officially, well, you see, they are knockoffs because they are not fully endorsed Hasbro Takara products. However, they're also not knockoffs because of the fact that they're not Transformers. Now, admittedly, they are making a Springer, which looks fantastic. And from, well, at least from the prototype shots that I've seen of it, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And admittedly, yes, that is going to be a knockoff, a knockoff Transformer, but we're still going to buy it. I mean, if Hasbro and Takara can't get off their backsides and do something about Fans Project, i.e. give them jobs, or at least contracts, so they're getting paid for the absolutely fantastic work they're doing, is beyond me. This is the first Fans Project stuff I actually have, and as I said in the very first part of this video, Adam got it me for Christmas. And it won't be the last thing that I'm buying. I will be buying, at some point, the City Commander upgrade. I want it for Ultra Magnus, and I want it for Nemesis Prime. I don't want the normal Prime version, because it's foodly. Well, its colour scheme is fugly anyway. You know, and then you've got the Gears of War kits that have come out, and they're absolutely... Well, I haven't got the Gears of War kits, but, you know, if this is anything to go by, if this kit is anything to go by, then it's absolutely fantastic stuff. I will be buying more Fans Project stuff, hopefully soon, well, after Christmas anyway, seeing as I've just gone and bought Hybrid Convoy for Power Toys, but there we go. Hopefully that arrives soon, because that looks lovely. My biggest gripe again with this toy, and I know I'm not the only person that this has happened to, is the pin that are on the arms here for them to plug into when you transform them into Superion has broken on the right arm of my Silver... Yes, that is its right arm. On the right arm of my Silverbolt. As well, the friction pin has actually come out, and you need to push it back in. Now, Adam did this when he was transforming it yesterday, and then he repaired it, put it back together, and then I went and did it again. So, and I know I'm not the only person this has happened to. I think it was Pred it happened to, but I'm not sure. That does seem to be fault, which is why he's not in Superion mode. But you know, I can handle having him in the 5 robot modes of the normal robots, of the rest of the aerial bots. Okay, that is me done for now. There's nothing really else I can add that Adam hasn't already added. So yes, this is Silverbolt, with of course Silverbolt and all the other paraphernalia that is attached to the aerial bots, with the Fans Project Superion upgrade kit, with special guest star Repellantfounddead, also known as Adam, signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.